You ever had one of those days where you swear if you blink too long, your whole life gets towed off in the middle of the night and you wake up wondering if you just dreamed up all that HOA nonsense? Yeah, this is one of those stories. And trust me, you won't want to miss the end because the woman who tried to steal my Jeep for her own daughter, she wound up trading her power trip for a pair of neon orange gloves and the worst weed trimmer in the county. You couldn't script this mess if you tried. Let me back up a sec. I'm out there wiping brake dust off my white Rubicon. My pride and joy, my escape. The only thing that still smells like mountain air after a week of HOA emails, and the next thing I know, blue lights roll up to my curb. Out hops Karen Keller, president of our HOA, looking like she's about to officiate a wedding between my Jeep and a tow truck. She's got her clipboard in one hand, phone in the other, and her face is set in that strained smile folks practice in the mirror, part victim, part sheriff, full-on busybody. Behind her, the officer she dragged out for civil standby looks about as thrilled as a kid stuck at his mom's Tupperware party. I barely get out a good afternoon, officer, before Karen points at my Rubicon like it's a public menace. Disrepair, she says, like I'm running a chop shop out here instead of washing the wheels. I just about choke. My Jeep's cleaner than her HOA balance sheet. Calm is my armor. I stay polite hands on the binder I keep for days exactly like this. I learned real quick panic is what people like Karen live for, so I starve her with silence, just focusing on the cop. She starts waving her hand, citing HOA bylaw 7 section something or other, rambling about commercial off-road vehicles ruining the look of her perfect street. Meanwhile, the officer's glancing at the gleaming paint, the fresh wax, the dealer tag that still lives in my file cabinet. I play my hand. Officer, here's the city ordinance routine. Maintenance is legal on private property. This Jeep's registered insured, moved every day. I show him the binder, the camera feed, every receipt, filed by date. My wife, Angela, always 10 steps ahead, stands just inside the door, giving me that look, calm down, you've got this. Karen's mask slips. She's losing the script. Her voice jumps an octave. This is harassment. He's trying to intimidate me with all this paperwork. The cop sighs and shakes his head. Ma'am, there's no violation here. It's his property. I can't do anything. He backs away so fast you'd think he'd sat on a thumbtack. Karen's left in the driveway, mouth-tight, knuckles white around her clipboard, making promises with her eyes that this is not over. And I know it's not. People like Karen bullies. They don't forgive, and they sure as heck don't forget. Angela steps outside, arm around my waist, and says, "You handled that well." But I can't shake the feeling I've just won the first round, and the real fight's coming after dark. Here's the thing about Karen. She doesn't just enforce the rules. She is the rules, at least in her mind. First week we moved in, she fined us for the trash can being 3 inches too close to the curb on a non-pickup day. Never came to talk. Just typed up a violation notice, $50 threat, and all dropped it in my mailbox. That was our welcome mat to the Maple Creek HOA, her Gerald the accountant, her lapdog, and Brenda, who I swear never has an opinion unless Karen's in earshot. I fought back the only way I know: paperwork. Every rule, every bylaw, cross-referenced with city codes, dates, photos, certified letters. When she fined me for a visible hose, I sent back a photo of her hose in the exact same spot, dated a day earlier. Fine dropped. Cold War HOA style. But the Jeep that was her white whale, Karen hated everything about it. Too loud, too bold, too me. She saw it as a stain on her landscape, and the closer her daughter Kate got to getting her license, the more Karen's obsession dialed up. I'd hear her out front talking on the phone. Kate deserves a safe, reliable white SUV. Something nice, something appropriate. It clicked after the police incident. Karen wasn't just trying to get my Jeep moved, she was laying the groundwork to take it. Declare it abandoned, have it towed, auctioned, and handed off to her daughter with a bow on top. Angela, being the genius she is, doubled up on cameras, set up motion alerts, even tucked an AirTag deep in the roll cage of the Jeep, just in case Tim. You never know. We became the weird neighbors with the drone and a binder, but it was better than waking up to find my Jeep gone. And wouldn't you know it, a stormy Friday night that AirTag saved our bacon. Around 10 p.m., Angela's tablet chimes a figure in a raincoat hustling up the driveway. Not trying to break in, just sticking something under my wiper, then snapping a photo and hustling back out. Pause, rewind, zoom. Karen Keller, plain as day, planting a bright orange abandoned vehicle notice, complete with a fake city ordinance and a 24-hour tow warning. Pure fiction. But the plan was clear. She'd call her buddy Sal at Express Towing, Gerald's brother-in-law and the HOA's favorite tow guy, and try to have the Jeep removed before sunrise. The contract's always been sketchy. They tow for the HOA charge, triple the city rate, and never bother with paperwork unless someone squawks. Angela says, let's not touch the notice, let her play her hand. We'll catch it all on camera. We stay up all night, tension thick enough to slice. Sure enough, 2 a.m. headlights sweep across the wet street. Express Towing's flatbed rolls up, hooks my Jeep, and drives off all on tape. The AirTag. It heads not to the impound lot, but to a sketchy warehouse on the industrial side of town. Not just towing chopping, my stomach dropped. We could have called the cops, but Angela knew better. They'll call it a civil dispute. We need proof, real proof. So the next morning, I roll up to the yard in Angela's car phone and one pocket burner in the other. I get pushed, threatened, see my Jeep, halfway disassembled diagnostic computer on the seat bolts scattered on the ground. The scam's bigger than I thought. They're cloning VINs, swapping parts, moving stolen cars through clean titles. That night, the cops write up the assault, but that's just the toe in the door. The real break. 2 days later, a police ALPR scans a gray Jeep using my VIN and plate. It triggers a hit, and the officer tells me, "You've got a clone out there. This is federal." Now we're talking organized crime, not just HOA shenanigans. Angela goes forensic, pulls up the fake tow notice, scans. It analyzes the microscopic printer dots, matches it to the financial statements Gerald prints for the HOA. Suddenly the chain is clear. Karen plants the tag, Gerald prints it. Sal tows it, the yard strips it, and somewhere out there my Jeep's identity is being stapled onto a gray ghost. We stack the evidence and call Detective Miller at the Auto Theft Task Force. Detective Miller is floored, says most folks just pay the fine, never bother to fight back. She tells us to sit tight, play along, let them gather their own surveillance. But Angela, she's not done. Our drone catches Karen in her backyard swapping plates between her Lexus and the clone Jeep, thinking no one's watching. We send the footage to Miller. Suddenly, everything goes into overdrive. Next day, a state attorney's investigator shows up at our door. Turns out they've been digging too. Phone records, body cam footage, call logs. You'll be acting as cooperating witnesses tomorrow, he tells us, so just tell the truth at the HOA meeting. That night at the clubhouse is something I'll never forget. Rooms packed, more neighbors than I've ever seen, all hungry for drama. Karen sits at the front, smug and ready. I stand up, lay out the evidence, Angela running the laptop, every image, every video, every forged tag. The crowd murmurs, phones out the air, crackling. Karen tries to shout me down. Gerald sweats bullets. Brenda finally blinks. But the final blow, Angela's drone footage, Karen caught red-handed swapping plates, drops like a hammer. The room explodes. Karen throws Gerald under the bus. Gerald throws Karen back, and the next thing you know, Detective Miller and 4 officers sweep in, handcuffs at the ready. Karen Keller, Gerald Fletcher, under arrest for fraud, conspiracy, grand theft, auto. The whole neighborhood watches as their queen is led out the door, still screaming about how it was all for her daughter. The chop shop is raided, my Jeep recovered, banged up, missing half its brain, but still mine. Restitution, criminal charges, new HOA elections. Karen spends her mornings trimming the very grass she once used to trip me up. Sometimes I watch from the porch, coffee in hand, Angela beside me, and wonder how many times justice gets to roll right over the curb. So was it worth it? Every sleepless night, every binder, every camera, I think so. I got my Jeep back, my neighborhood back, and most important, a reminder that sometimes the system does work. You just have to be willing to push back hard. Now let me ask you, how far would you go to defend what's yours? Ever had a neighbor cross the line or an HOA try to take more than their share? Drop your story below. Let's talk about what real justice looks like and whether standing up is worth the fight. And hey, if you stuck with me this long, go on and share your wildest HOA moment. You might just find you're not alone.